Mystery Judas.
Athena whispered to me, don't believe in any more lies. Getting crazy on the moonshine. When you purple something, the little bits that you give to the goddess. Athena follows Odysseus around. She makes men fulfill their desires to be with the woman, christened with aphrodisiac. Once you are out, producing the theriac. Watch out, your brain will open up. Athena with the purple cup. Shoot you all up, the purple kush. You begin the place, oh, magic is medicine. Wish you would. Shoot you all up, the purple kush. You begin the place, oh, magic is medicine. Wish you would.
Welcome back to Lady Babylon. This is Better Than Muse, and I'm going to bring you a short story tonight. Now, I've got something fantastic for you. It's absolutely fantastic. This is a mystery. You're going to put on your investigator's cap, and you're going to solve a mystery tonight. And the way that we're going to do that is through the language itself, through the Greek itself. And you're going to learn something about Judas that will allow you to have one of those aha moments. Now it makes sense, right? And it'll give you a historical look at the text, right? And that's all through the language, baby. We love that language. We love you, Mama Greek. We love you. You know what? Before I want to start, I want to bring you a couple of comments because Satanic Congregation, I'll give you this. And by the way, Teddy Bass, everybody go check out Teddy Bass. It's very cultic. It's very cultic. It's just part of it. It's just part of it. Come, we get the songs. Oh, God. Yeah, it's gorgeous. Now, here's the reality. Here's the reality underneath. Are you ready for this? Let's get a couple of comments, and I'm going to give you a couple of viddies. What are people saying about Satanic Congregation? Those of you who've been coming here for so long and so faithfully. And I know there are those among you who are here just to cause problems. I know that too, but that's a minority. That's a tiny, tiny minority. I'm talking to the real members of the Satanic Congregation. That's who I am. If you like enjoying your food with Lady Babylon, yeah, that's you I'm talking to. And you're not afraid of any whips, are you? No. Are you ready for this? Give me a couple of quotes and then clips. Give me quote number one. No, we're going to save that one. We're going to save that one. Give me that one. Good. Who is this from? Yeah, okay, some guy with a general name. His kitchen is in a tiny apartment, an efficiency flat, as the UKers call him. So he's definitely not a financial or marketing genius, that's for sure. Do you know what that is? It is a reflection of the death of classical wisdom. It's a reflection. Do you hear how the atheistic world, and when I say that, I mean the monists, because the monists create atheism. The monists create atheism. This gent is sucked into the monist atheistic universe. So what is their morality? What do you think their morality is in that universe? The man's kitchen. The man's kitchen is that's not a man of wealth. Listen to antiquity, Mr. Hoo-Ha. Listen to antiquity. Who is the wisest Oh, Oracle, who is the wisest? Socrates is the wisest. Socrates. You know why? Because he knew he didn't know. And he knew other people who said they knew were full of it. And he could just tear you apart in a conversation. And for that, the oracle declared him to be the wisest of all. The wisest of all those people. Do you see classical morality? Your greed stains your soul with a stench of ruin. Do you know where that gentleman is? That gentleman is in hell, being punished for his greed. Give me the next one. Socrates had one cloak, baby. Do you know why Socrates had one cloak? Because he didn't care what you thought about him. He listened to his daimon. He listened to his daimon. Give me the next one. These are funny. This dude is the biggest psyop ever. I'm a psyop now, and I think he's been drinking a lot of drugs from the seriously psyop. This dude is the biggest psyop ever. Bruh, if you think that this has the capacity to carry out any sort of sophisticated operation that involves, I don't know, things like planning, no, bro, you're in the wrong place. Give me the next one. Finally, let's hear some sense from Leo. Is that Leo? We'll just say Leo. If you listen to the full three. Now, what is this? This is a note that was left, this is a message that's left on an interview, it was a review. Somebody did a review of Lady Babylon. Right. And this was one of the comments that they left. If you listen to the full 3.5-hour podcast, it gives one a drastically different portrait of the man. Well, that's odd. You think that you didn't see? You only saw through their clips, didn't you? Right. And it gave you a kind of a distorted view. That's okay. Thank you for saying it. I don't know if what he says is true or not. Right. He knows he knows a whole lot more about it than most people. Okay, thank you. That's nice. But you know what I'm saying? It could all be absolute nonsense. But those were 3 of the most far out and fascinating hours I've gotten from a podcast in years. I want to show you a couple of clips now. And I want you to sit with me and the watchers. And I want you to see the atheistic monist soup in which you live. Are you ready? It's topsy-turvy. Let's go for it. Chewy, give me the first one.
What I think that I got very confused by is confused is the wrong word. I am skeptical of Lady Babylon's ability to translate anything.
Interesting.
Completely.
Okay. He does have his PhD.
He does.
Okay.
That doesn't mean anything.
I agree.
He claims that he can read another language. That does not make you a good translator.
I'm pretty sure that he's just making shit up.
It's like those little games where, you're like, okay, make this letter be this letter. I think he's just saying, okay, this word means this now.
Okay, so that's what she thinks. What's funny is when you see people who come with a preformed conclusion already, they just have something there. They have some kind of, now, just ask yourself, is this person who's talking any sort of samurai? Is there a reason they're putting down this other samurai? Maybe I don't know, maybe they're in linguistics, maybe they're in classics. Do you know people have been asking and vetting Amun, and do you know what they're finding? They're finding Hail Satan. That's what they're finding. They're finding that I'm just a classicist and I'm just doing what classicists do. Yeah, there's no trick. It's just translation of those texts. Now, this person doesn't even know the discipline, and yet is willing to come out with a general statement and say, okay, let's hear some more. Let's hear some more. Did you see, by the way, how quickly the gentleman turned around when he said he does have a PhD? And she was like, that doesn't mean anything. You're right. You're right, Ms. Tightbox. And that's her name, in all fairness. You're right. You're right. What I did was 12 years of university that brought me 3 degrees in Greek, ancient Greek, classical philology. That's what I did. And ever since then, I've been reading it. That's who I am. That's where I am. So let's hit the next clip. Let's see watch the world, people, and what they do. Go.
You know what? I have to say this right now, especially for the people who are listening to the podcast. You're right. He's an idiot.
No genius would have a kitchen like that.
Yeah.
That is so dated. That looks like King Cobra JFX's kitchen. That's not a nice place.
And he has this shrine that includes his riding crop, which he, as you just heard, is about to grab. And again, for the people who are only listening, he's about to use it to thwack the floor a whole bunch.
All right.
He's a mental patient.
Lucy, I heard he's single.
This man is crazy, mommy. Pass me the chicken nuggets, Tommy.
No sauce.
I'm getting married again, and he's the first guy I'm killing.
All right. All right. So you see where the level of penetration is, right? You see where the level of engagement is, where people can engage. You're dealing with people who can only engage on the surface to start with, right? And they're not here because they want to be. They're here because they're trying to work their way up the ladder, right? And they're going to critique this person without considering anything, background, any sort of, but that's okay. We don't need them. You know why? Because people can do those kind of things, and they have done them. They love to do them in the dark ages. Ms. Tightbox, do you know what you did wrong? Ms. Tightbox, you messed with somebody who's well trained. You messed with somebody who knows the art. And just to put your brain at ease, there's really not a difference between reading and translating, because you're doing the same thing. Okay. I don't sit around and talk to the UN, right? I don't do that. I don't change things from one language to another. I jump into the pit of the Greek and I swim as deep as I can. That's what I do. That's my thing. Does it matter that does my kitchen not impress you? Seriously? Does my kitchen not impress you? Yes. Yes. Do you see what happens to a society that is no longer but guided by polytheism? When you step away from justice, when you step away from those values that make you a woman, when you step away from that hunter, what happens to you? You become concerned about kitchens. Do you know? Well, I'm going to say something to half of you. Half of you out there, you are a mere reflection, just a shade of the great women who came before you. Just a shade. Oh, if I had the power to give you to become that vampire. Oh, God. Oh, God. Let's take a trip tonight again. Let's take a trip and look at a text. I'm going to flash up the one text up here. I'm going to give you one text, and it's going to guide everything tonight. Are you ready? This is the mystery. What is going on here? We're talking about the death of Judas. Bring him up, Chewy. We're talking about the death of Judas, or what has been believed to be the death of Judas. This is the crime scene. And who is our witness? Our witness is Peter. And he is saying, after Jesus in his vampire form was taken back up into the Uranos, which is where they all go, right? After he was taken up, Peter and his gang of teenage cultists had to perpetuate the rite. So they needed, because Judas had betrayed. And so what happened? This is a little bit later, right? And what are we doing? We're forming another mystery 12, just like Paul does, just like Jesus does, just like anybody does who's following Ionic life, whether it's your synagogues that have Ion with the zodiac around him, or whether it's your Christians talking about Ionic life. You need those 12. You need those 12. So what they do, they appointed another kid to be involved. Yeah, another young person to be involved. And what happened to Judas in all of this? Well, there are two accounts. Here's part of the mystery. Are you ready? I'm prepping you. We're going into this crime scene, and I want you to figure out what happened. Okay, in this one verse. That's all. We're just looking at one verse. I want you to figure out what actually happened. We have two accounts, one in Matthew and one in the Acts of the Apostles. The first one in Matthew is totally different. It's totally different from the other one. And the other one, the one in Acts, you will never see this thing depicted in art anywhere. As a matter of fact, Chewy is reaching into that quantum singularity and pulling out the very first images of what is actually going on in this verse. Go ahead and throw that verse up there. Let's throw it up there. Boom. Here it is, Acts 1:18. Hutos min what did Judas do? He bought a piece of land. Isn't that nice? He's an entrepreneur. He bought himself a piece of land from what? From the wage of his injustice, right? For turning in Jesus. He got that. Now we're going to get a phrase that our whole goal here tonight is to try to translate. What happened? What happened to Judas? Kai prenes genomenos elakis mesos kai exehuthe pantas tasplachna auto. All right. Now I know you're running to the end there and you saw the splachna and you said, wait a minute. This is associated with the boys and Theocritus. This is why they chase boys. They talk about it. These are the goodies the boys give. How do you think we tell all of this haruspicy, all of this reading of the signs? We do it from this power. Now, what does the English, and everybody asks this question. They've been asking this. No, it's not everybody. That's an exaggeration. People ask me this question. Why you? Why are you giving us the reality? And why haven't people before you? Right? Why haven't they come up and done it? And my answer is because of the weakness of classical philology, that classical philologists haven't been studying medical or scientific documents for ages. And all they needed to do was look into the pharmaceutical side. And they didn't, and I did. And I'm happy to have done that. And I'm bringing that to you. Now, what is it? Look at these translations of this verse. Before I translate it for you, which we're going to do, I want you to see what the English is. Are you ready? Get your fantasy caps on. With the payment he received for his wickedness, Judas bought a field. There he fell headlong. His body burst open, and all his intestines spilled out. Wait a minute. What? First of all, that Greek does not say anything about falling. There is no falling there. Yeah, it doesn't say. I'm going to show you. It doesn't say that. What do you mean? He burst open. He burst open. Does anybody know about this? Right? This is what you call immediate tummy explosion. Yeah, it happens all the time. If you're reading the inerrant word of God and you come across this translation, please explain to me what this means. Judas bought a field with the money he received for his treachery. Falling head first there, his body split open, spilling out his intestines. Wait a minute. Now this man acquired a field, and falling headlong, he burst open. There's going to be a lot of falling headlong. Do you know why different translations are so similar? It's because Christian translators are weak because they don't read anything but their garbage. And by garbage, everybody's got garbage, right? Everybody's got it. They're not reading anybody else's. How are you going to strengthen your understanding of the language if all you read is the newspaper from 1980? Seriously, what are you going to do? Oh my God. Give me the King James. Let's see what the King James does. Now, this man purchased the field with the reward of iniquity. That sounds more ominous. And falling headlong, he burst asunder in the midst. He burst his belly in his midsection. He burst that open. Right? Okay. Now, how are we going to figure out what is actually going on? Right? Are you ready? I'm going to reveal it for all the Catholics and all the evangelicals, all the charismatics, right? You're going to get to see what this is actually doing. And how do we do that? We do it from the Greek. That's all. We do it from the Greek. Give me the first one. Look at this, people. Having said that, here's some Latin. Look at this. You know what this says? It's part of a quote. It's only part, but it's part of a quote that says magic, right, comes from medicine, right? Why would they say magic came from medicine? This is plenty. Why would they say this in antiquity? Because of the drugs, right? Drugs are a part of medicine, but they are also the driver of magic. Yeah. So to them, it's, he says, Nemo dubitabit. Nobody will doubt, right? Like everybody knows. Give me the next one. Just a couple of more. I wanted to give you, look at the first word here, buprestim. Buprestim. Now, you were talking about Judas. I know. And now I'm talking about buprestis. What is that? It's a beetle. It's a beetle. A beetle that in antiquity they said it's a little bit different from, but it's in the same group. Does the same thing as cantharides. Cantharides. What is cantharides? That's one of the blister beetles that produces a little resin. And you know what it does? That resin is a love gift. It's a love gift. It's given to protect the eggs. The female will receive it and then protect the eggs with it. But it's quite toxic. And why am I mentioning buprestis? Go back to the beginning. Go back to that quote with buprestis, please. So he says the Greeks talk about it in a couple of different ways. They say, first of all, it's good just for consumption for your diet's sake, right? And otherwise, they talk about it like you got to use remedies against the drug with it, right? That this is the really poisonous and toxic stuff, right? And even its name indicates that it's a poison, right? Because what happens when the cows, that's where the boo comes from, when the cows eat it, they decelerate. They decelerate. What does that mean? It means they explode. It means they explode. They vent. You've heard of the word dehiss. When you have a surgery and you've been cut open, you don't want that closed tissue to open up again. This is what they're trying to prevent, is that opening of the tissue. right? What happens? There is a bursting. There is a bursting with the cattle. Now, I used to work on a dairy. I didn't see any cattle burst. I did see some die from bloat. And I know that's a possibility. But that is not what this author is talking about. And when a cow dies from bloat, they don't explode anyway, right? This is what happens. His splanchna spill out of his body. His goodies spill out of his body. Okay, let's go to the next one. I think they see where this is going. People, I want you to meet really quick here the iatroleptike. Look at the Greek iatroleptike. What is this? This is the art of healing with ointments. You didn't even know this existed, did you? Right? You didn't even know it existed. You know, when we talk about Christing, we're talking about using ointments. And when I say ointments, I mean really crazy drug ointments. Let's see some crazy drug ointments. You know, I know you guys love the crazy. Look at the iatromaya is a feminine physician, right? Or midwife. Isn't that nice? So for those of you who think, oh, women didn't do anything. Yeah, no, they were in medicine. Love it. Give me the next one. Theriac says plenty is the name given to a preparation devised by luxury, a composition formed of 600 different ingredients. And this, while nature has bestowed upon us such numbers of remedies, each of which would have fully answered the purpose employed by itself, the Mithridatic antidote is composed of 4 and 50 ingredients. Now listen to this. 54 ingredients, none of which are used in exactly the same proportion. And the quantity prescribed is in some cases so small as the 60th part of 1 denarius. Right, we're in the world of grams now. We're talking about antiquity and the complex compound drugs that they're using in mystery rites. And the measurements are that precise. You know where they're getting that precision? That's Bronze Age, late Bronze Age precision with pharmacology. This is why when somebody comes on and they say, I don't like his kitchen, right? You know that there are certain people out there that you can show that reality to. You can give it to them and they'll say, thank you, right? There are other people who already have a preformed notion, right? You can stand them in front of the mirror. This is Bacchic initiation. This is Bacchic initiation. People are forced to look into the mirror. Look at what Miss Tightbox did tonight, right? She talked about things she had no clue, no knowledge of whatsoever, and dismissed it entirely. Just dismissed. That's the same thing the leaders of the theology schools do. It's the same thing that Jordan Peterson does, right? They come from outside the field, right? And condemn and just deny everything. Just deny everything. Can't be. Look at his kitchen, right? Look at his kitchen. Do you see why Socrates was walking around like he was, and why the oracle was saying he was the wisest Athenian, who walked around saying, these people don't know what they're doing. You don't know what justice is. You don't know what justice is. All you have to do is look at your basic definitions. Everything that you think is right will be turned on its head. And you'll see just from the scientific breakdown of your own stupid thoughts, by the power of reason, you're an idiot. And if you haven't come to that place yet, you end up saying, look at the man's kitchen. Here's my kitchen. If that, right? If that's your level of depth, right? But the ancient mysteries and the women who made them, the oracles who perpetuated them, you do them a great disservice, Miss Tightbox. You do them a great disservice. Yeah. And they're watching you. They're watching you. Fantastic. Let's go to the next one. Right? Let's go to the next one. That was not very cheery. Look, let's get down to here. Do this one real quick. Do this one. Look, people, what bug are we talking about? We're talking about Spanish fly, right? The term Spanish fly. Thank you, Alan. The term Spanish fly is referred to various aphrodisiacs. Oh, I forgot to tell you. This is their big aphrodisiac. Like the cantharides, the blister beetle, right? They produce that chemical. What does it do? Let's see. However, the real Spanish fly contains a hazardous substance that can blister your skin, right? And it can kill you too. Are you ready? Give me the next one. Watch what happens. Remember, by the way, Plenty was talking about how specific the amounts are that they're working with, right? Because they know. Why do they have to be that specific? Because they know if they give too much, they'll kill you. Watch what happens. Where does it come from? True Spanish fly is made from blister beetles. Specifically, the substance produced by the beetles is called cantharidin. John Scarborough wrote about cantharidin and what it does and how it interacts with the prostate. The insect's name is not for nothing. Contact with cantharidin blisters the skin. Now you know why they call it the burning purple. Guess what? This drug is one of the ones they use for cancer treatment, external cancer treatment. Okay. Contact with cantharidin blisters skin. Its use dates way back, and some of its many infamous fans include a Roman empress who used cantharidin to encourage sexual behavior worthy of blackmailing her family. That's nice. Roman gladiators using it for orgies. It wasn't just gladiators. Queens who used it on their kings, and those kings on their mistresses. Right now, he says to spice things up, but watch what's happening. This is not intentional. Dried beetles would be crushed and mixed with drinks or sweets, not always to the receiver's knowledge. What do you think Circe was putting on those pigs' food? Right? Putting the blister beetle. You know, you can kill someone like that, right? Yeah, and every once in a while they do. They do. When Medea went to the temple of Hera to dedicate her children, a couple of them didn't make it through the process. Those children were dedicated to Hera. Okay. They're working with very dangerous chemicals. Very dangerous. And not only that, he talks about fumigating this one. I don't know how that would change it. I don't know what that would do, but it gets crazy. Okay, give me the next one after that one. Yeah. Along with long-lasting erections, Spanish fly was found to cause a number of serious side effects, including death. So if we had a commercial for Spanish fly today, we would have to have somebody read, this includes serious side effects, including death, right? Even death, as the Marquis de Sade tragically discovered in 1772 after giving sweet aniseed balls laced with Spanish fly to prostitutes. Why would he be giving Spanish fly to the prostitutes? Because, as anyone knew in antiquity, especially the women who were involved with the midwifery, there's a way to make a woman's body heated. There's a way to fill your heated center and to cause you to burst into flames. Yes, I saw this done once at an interview. The photographer was surprised. Spontaneous combustion right on the spot. It was fantastic. Love it. This is the power of the drug. This is the power of the drug that they're talking about. Okay. A power to force you to be brought to a place of climactic perfection. Yeah. And it all starts, they say, with your heat, right? It all starts with your heat. and how that heat can be focused and where it can be focused. And the drug does just that. It takes it to the part of your body. Now, what does it do in men? It just happens to have, now, right? This drug is first for a woman. This is not a man's drug. But when you give it to men, you get satyrs. You get satyrs. Give me the next. Give me the next. Look at what are the symptoms that we get here? Painful urination. Painful urination. Right? When you're in a psychotic fit, that's no fun. Blood in your urine. Vomiting blood. You're going to get the clue here. There's a lot of blood coming out of different places. Difficulty swallowing. Seriously? Difficulty. Are you kidding? I've got blood coming out of places. I don't care how hard it is. Priapism. Fancy talk, this author said, for persistent painful erections. Right? They also call it satyriasis. They have numerous words for it because it's a common drug activity. You can cause this person to have a painful, unremitting erection, causes abdominal pain, eventually kidney failure, some gastrointestinal bleeding. You get a lot of bleeding out the anus with it, a lot of bleeding out the anus, and then some neurological. As you shoot down the slide of death. Go ahead and put some of our pictures up there. As you shoot down the slide of death, eventually it takes your nervous tissue and turns it into not good. It kills you. And how does it kill you? Causes you to shed that essential life that flows from that body under the influence of the drug. It pushes you to a place of climax. You say, every place of climax that you want to go there yourself. This is an invasive proposition that we've got going, right? If we're in antiquity and we're going through these rites, I'm going to drug you. I've read many, many examples of people, priestesses drugging people. So I'm going to drug you, and I'm going to forcefully climax you. Right? You're not going to want it. You're going to be in a psychotic state, and I'm going to cause you to come to that place of complete and total sexual union with the cosmos. You're going to see how everything works when we take you there. You're going to understand the machinery. You're going to understand your hard drive. You're going to understand what's happening. That is what they're performing. Now, what are they doing that with? One of the components are these blister beetles. Give me the next one. Oh, you know what? Go back to that plenty one. Yeah, that big one. Yeah. Okay. I wanted you to see here. That plenty's like, look, there's, these people are just bragging because it's impossible to get those tiny, tiny amounts of measurements, right? He's so amazed at how the level of the science is reached in pharmacology, right? We have accounts of people, doctors, who accidentally overdose patients. We have accounts of it. And it's not pretty, but it's happening. It's happening, right? There's no FDA there. There's no regulations there, right? Yeah. Give me the next one. Watch this. As to the other remedial virtues attributed to bugs, because you think, what? We're dealing with bugs for the cure of vomiting? That's nice. Look, people, you can use bugs to stop vomiting. Quartan fevers. Now, people don't know what quartan fever here is, but it's a malaria. Yeah, it's a type of malaria. They have chronic fevers, populations of chronic fevers, and they noticed, hey, there's a relation here between how many of us have fevers and how many of these swamps we're cleaning up, right? Getting rid of all this malaria, this bad air. That means bad air, right? So you see the big picture look, the holistic look that they've got of the world around them. You're part of a system. You're part of a system, and you are balanced within that system. And we can give you drugs to bring you to places that you can't be brought otherwise. Watch what happens. And other diseases, although we find, what do we use bugs to treat? Mm, mm. I look upon them as utterly unfounded and not worthy of further notice. They are employed, however, for the treatment of lethargy. There we go. Lethargy, that's interesting. You want a little pick-me-up? Drink some bug juice. And with some fair reason, as they successfully neutralize the narcotic effects of the poison of the asp. What? What? So wait a minute. This is not some dude who's just walking along and gets bitten by an asp. This is a dude who is using the asp, and he's countering that asp with this anti-narcotic. With this anti-narcotic. Do you see how sophisticated the plant, the flora and fauna bridge was with these people? And it's coming through the Greek. It's not coming through the Latin. I'm giving you a Latin source, but it's coming through the Greek. From the viper are prepared, right? Nobody ever believes me when I say these things. So here they are in their words. From the viper are prepared those tablets, which are known as theriac, right? To the Greeks. Okay, again, who are we talking about? Just Pliny. Just Pliny. He's just giving us the encyclopedia of the day, right? He's Mr. Encyclopedia. And he's going to talk about magic and medicine. He's going to talk about drugs. And God, he goes on and on and on. Give me the next one. Give me the next one. A pounded scorpion. This is just for fun, for those of you who want something fun to think about. A pounded scorpion. It's got to be pounded, right? This thing can't be drowned and then peppered, it's got to be pounded. And it neutralizes the venom of a spotted lizard. I don't even know what kind of spotted lizard that is. In most of these texts, you'll look at the notes in them and they'll say, we don't know what species this is. It's probably this one, right? Because it's in this region that he's describing. And oh yeah, they have this spotted lizard, right? Okay, fine. But you can use the scorpion venom. So now you understand why in the Mithridatic depictions of the god, you've always got like scorpion. Some kind of scorpion's trying to sting his testicles. Yeah. You use the venoms as compounds, right? You use them as compounds. Now remember, when you have the blister beetle on board and you are bleeding anally, I want you to just wait. You're bleeding anal, crimson blood. This is not the black blood you get from in the intestine higher up. This is that crimson anal blood. And that mixes with purple. Do you know what's happening? That purple is getting absorbed. That purple is getting absorbed. They're mixing in your own body. They're mixing drugs. Is Christ a drug term? Seriously, people? Seriously? I can't count the references. Of course it is. And notice, I want to say one thing while we have Jesus and company. Notice that people won't go back and actually look for themselves. Notice there's a fear, a palpable fear in looking at the original text. There's a fear that you may find something. Let's figure out what's going on with Judas here, because we know we're in the cult. We know. Give me that next one. There you go. Watch this, people. Here are the remedies that you can derive from cantharides. You mean that blister beetle that gives me a terrible forceful erection and makes my anus bleed, right? And different parts of my body bleed. I'm gonna come, right? Get me the purple. You mean those things can be used as remedies, right? Yeah. But with reference to cantharides, there's been considerable controversy on the subject, saying that taken internally, they're a poison attended with excruciating pains in the bladder. That's nice to know, right? Then it keeps going. I just wanted you to see that you can talk about remedies derived from these very same poisons, right? Which they know are poisonous. And cantharides are produced from small grub found most particularly in the spongy excrescences which grow on the stem of the dog rose. Isn't that interesting? Why the dog rose? Why? And still more abundantly on the ash. Other kinds, again, are found upon the white rose. Look at how observant they are. And this is just plenty. And what is he doing? He has a slave read to him all day long while he's doing government business. He has a slave follow him around and read to him. When he's in the bath, slave reading to him. And then he takes all of that information and piles it into an encyclopedia. That's what he's doing here. So it's not that he knows this, right? He's picked it up from another author. And what does that tell you? It tells you, kiddies, you've been lied to by these lying people. The people who told you nobody reads in antiquity. I heard some Septuagint expert, quote unquote. Oh God, nobody reads in antiquity. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Look at all the information that's slammed into this that Pliny is gleaning. Where do you think he's getting those scrolls? They got all sorts of libraries all over Rome. They got one on the Palatine. The Christians burn it down. Okay. Oh God. Give me the next one. We got to decipher the mystery. The mystery here. All these insects are extremely efficacious for the cure of blank and blank. It is said too that they act as a minagogue and diuretic, for which last reason Hippocrates used to prescribe them for dropsy. That's swelling, inflammation, extra swelling. Cato was reproached. Now listen to this. Everybody loves Cato because he's totally conservative. Totally conservative. This guy is a farmer, and he thinks that the land has taught him everything, and he's just come out of the ground. And what happens? Watch what happens. Cato of Utica was reproached with selling poison because when disposing of a royal property by auction, he sold a quantity of cantharides at the price of 60,000 sesterces. Dude, if they came to your estate and found 60,000 sesterces worth of drugs, what do you think is going to... Now, in antiquity, right, it's only looked down upon because that stuff is so toxic. But he's got a whole bunch of sex drug in his house. A lot of sex drug. He's got a lifetime supply of sex drug. He's not... It's so much that he can't use all of that himself. That's for other people. You mean these Romans, these famous Romans, are drug dealers? Yes, they are, because there's no laws against it. And if you are free, you can take cantharides. You can. Yeah, they don't want that stuff to be regulated. That's your health, right? That's your health. That's between you and your physician. Oh, wait a minute. They said that in antiquity? Yes. Yes. Tyranny always takes that away. It always takes away your choice. Doesn't matter if it's your vote. Yeah. Give me the next one. Give me the next one. Oh, I hate it, Martha, when he talks about it. Come here, Fred, you Midwestern. God, he needs it so bad. Take Martha home, Fred. Aphrodisiacs. Let's see. In its natural form, cantharidon is secreted by the male blister beetle and given to the female as a copulatory gift during mating. Afterwards, the female beetle covers her eggs with it in defense against predators. Fantastic. Right? Look at that. Nature is gorgeous, man. If you can't watch this and say, holy mackerel, nature is gorgeous, give it to me. The French surgeon Ambrose Pell described a case in 1572 of a man suffering from the most frightful satiritis. Why is it frightful satiritis? Do you want to be the one guy with frightful satiritis? First of all, satiriasis is priapism. It's a painful, unremitting erection. Okay. why are there degrees of it? And why do you not want to be or want to be that person with it? The most frightful set arises after taking a potion composed of nettles, yeah, and a cantharid extract. So he's taking the blister beetle plus the nettles, which I know they use the nettles in their sex rites. So it's doing something right. This dude is this surgeon is onto his stuff. This is perhaps the same man of whom Parr relates that a courtesan sprinkled a cantharid powder on food she served to him, after which the man experienced, get ready for this, violent priapism and anal bleeding, of which he later died. Parr also cites the case of a priest who died after swallowing a dose of cantharides, which he intended to fortify his sex drive. Wait, what? Was that a Catholic priest? A Catholic priest fortifying his sex drive? Too much. It's just too much. Do you see how the devil works? It's overwhelming. You mean you can be given a frightful priapism? You can be given a torturous priapism and then be forced to burst? Yes, you can. Yes, you can. And it's part of the mystery. Cantharides is being used. Blister beetle is being used. And there are descriptions of it, both in Latin and Greek, doing exactly what it is doing with Judas. Let's see the next one. Okay. Bring it. We got to bring it, all tie it back together carefully. Right. I just want to see this one. Look, they're using some remedies that you wouldn't necessarily consider remedies, like ram's flesh, right? Ram's flesh broth, right? Okay. So, in other words, if you're going to use the horny, crazy aroused inducer, right? What does it do in women? It just causes you to burst, to get really hot and burst. Which has its, that has its, advantages, right? But look what you can do. You got to have some ram's flesh, some sheep's milk, right? Very useful in cases where persons have drunk an infusion of aconite. Oh my God, aconite. That's wolfsbane. That stuff will kill you dead. We've been looking at aconite. It's one of those poisons that they use specifically. That thing will knock you the hell out. That's it. You're gone. Aconite. And look, they're drinking it. So wait a minute. Now what I got to do, I got to get my blister beetle and I got to get some of this. I got to mix it all together apparently in some of the sheep's milk, right? Or look, people who've got the buprestis in there already. What would you be drinking aconite and buprestis for? Nero knew. Why do you think he wanted the formula so bad? Give me the next one. This is a mystery term by Heracles. I'm going to do this for the first time tonight. I know I said short story and it's getting long, and I want to bring you to the climax, but I want to give you a mystery term. Are you ready, people? This is a line by Heracles. And what does he say? Thanon ho thenter elthon amikes hupo. That is a mystery statement. If you can understand that, you will understand what the initiate must undergo. Give me the next one. Sometimes we leave it with mystery. People, what happened? What happened? Now, take us back. Wait, Chewy, take us back to the very first verse that we had. That's our quote for the evening. Not that one. That one. Give me that one. No, not that one either. This one. There we go. This is our Acts 1:18. And finally, we're going to find out what happened to Judas. What happened to Judas? He bought this plot of land. He's going to settle down. He's got some money. He bought this plot of land that he got from his turning in Jesus. And what happened? Prenes genomenos. Prenes genomenos. He became what? He became prenes. Now hit me with the definition. Good. What did he become? Which is actually, this is from pranes, but that's just the length of the vowels. Look, the Ionian lengthens it, right? The Ionian lengthens it. Okay, good. That's what it says at the top. With the face downwards, lying on the front, falling forwards, headlong down. Oh my God, look at the bottom. Look at the bottom, the very bottom line. Fortasse. What is that fort? It's fortasse. It's Latin for perhaps. They're trying to explain. These are Victorian scholars trying to explain how this word is being used in the Acts of the Apostles. And they have to put in parentheses, fortasse, perhaps. This is from prestes, becoming distended. Distended. Hit me with the next one. Distended. Watch this, people. This word equals pretho, to blow up or distend. And what kind of authors are using it to mean to blow up or distend? Look at the end of the first line, the Acts of the Apostles. This is a different passage, 28:6. You know what that means? It means this one author is using this term this way consistently. And who else is using it? Hippocratic nature of women. Hippocratic nature of women. Is the author of Acts using a medical term? Yep. And that author is using it repeatedly the same way. Okay. Give me the next one. Now, here is the verb from which it comes, right? Pimpremi. Pimpremi. All right. And notice that it can mean to burn with fever, can mean to burn. The whole idea of the burning and the swelling are combined. They talk about love burns me. I can feel the love in my loins, right? When they say, can you feel the love tonight? They were talking about a burning sensation in your genitalia, right? Can you feel the love tonight? That's the burning in classical antiquity. It's the burning. Can you feel the burning? You know what that burning attracts? It attracts moisture. It attracts moisture. What are we doing with the cantharides? What are we doing with the cantharides? That beetle that causes us to be able to come to a forced climax while our anus bleeds. Watch this. Give me the next one. Give me the next one. Where we were. Buprestis animal. Look what he says. This is plenty. Buprestis is it's kind of rare in Italy, right? And it's very similar to the scarab. And it really escapes the cow's notice, right? It falls in among the herbs and the cows eat it, right? And what happened when the cows eat it? They become inflamed. They become surging and they rupat. They burst. They burst from that inner surge. Why? It's in the chemicals. It's in the chemicals. It's all that interaction, right? And again, I worked on a dairy. I'm going to tell you for a fact, I've never seen a cow explode. And I've seen not many, but a handful die of bloat, right? Where they literally cannot give off any more gas, right? And if they essentially just choke themselves, right? They just suffocate themselves. There's no explosion, right? We're talking about bringing the person to the place where they can spill their goodies. Are you ready? Give me the next one. Are you ready? Oh, God, you mean Judas? Remember when Judas got angry? Oh, we're going to see that in a minute. Okay, look. From the viper, they make a pastil, right? Which they call a theriac. The Greeks call the theriac, right? And the Greeks say that these things are poisons, right? I just want you to see the Romans are well aware of the capacity the Greeks have for using the theriacs. When the woman is seated on the beast, that beast is that theriac. Give me the next one. It's gorgeous. I love it. Okay, I know, people, I thought I would go slower. This is what you're doing. You're becoming prenes. You're becoming distended. You mean Judas didn't just follow. Look, he was at the sale, right, Chewy? He was at the sale of the property, and the realtor there was like, congratulations, you just bought your first home. And he was like, ah, and his guts exploded and just spilled out the front of him like an exorcist or something, right? Concomitantly with Jesus on the cross. Now, the author of Matthew knew, right, that he had to have a death scene. This scene in Acts doesn't say explicitly Judas died. It doesn't, strangely enough. Strangely enough. The Matthew scene does. And in Matthew, he feels bad, right? He's like, oh, he doesn't buy a plot of land so he can party, right? He does what? Yeah, he hangs himself, right? Because he feels bad. He feels bad. This is not the death scene. There's no death here. So what's happening? He's swelling. And what happens after that? He bursts in the mids. He bursts in the mids. Have you ever bursted in your mids? I'm going to burst in. I'm going to all over the place. You know what I mean? That's how we all get here. Right? That's how we all get here. Give me the next one. And what happens? He pours out. What is flowing out? What is flowing out of this guy? What is he? Give it to me, Chewy. It's the next one. What is flowing out of this guy? What's pouring out of him? All of that good stuff coming from the oracular yummies. Remember last week with Theocritus, or a couple episodes ago, we talked about it, tracked it down. We talked about Paul and his thorn in the flesh and everything that he's doing with the boy goody goods. You didn't think we'd get away from him, did you? You didn't think we'd get away from him. And people say, how can you read that? Listen to these brainiacs. How can you read that definition and take something from a part of it? Right? Dan, who is, how can you take something from the back side of the definition? Look at this all the way to the bottom. Oh, well, let's just cut that part out like that, right? It's one word we're talking about, and that word has a history. And if you don't understand how that word is used through history, you don't read Greek. I'm sorry you don't. Right? For everybody who wants that accent to be something that I said it wasn't, good luck. 35 years. Right? This is where I can help you get. Give it to me. I'm giving them all the stuff. I don't care. I'm not going to sell anything. Give me that. Watch this, people. This is me. And I told you this before. When we talk about the seed of those feelings, those splachna. Do you know what's coming out? Give me the next one. Do you know what's coming out? He's purging. Watch this. I told you. Anoistrethes. Hupos splachnoisi paidos. Those are those passions. Do you see what you can do with that pice? You can cause those passions to come to fruition. You realize, take it down for a second, Chewy. You realize the Olympic Games were there in the presence of the games of Hera. And what were those games? Those were initiation games. Those were coming of age games for girls. Yeah. The schools that started on Lesbos for girls, those are the earliest forms of education. Your society, your Western society, is built upon a library that was brought to you by women, that only monist man religions could tear down and burn. Give me one. We're going to have two more, and then we'll call it, because people are tired. I know that. What did I cojone? What is that? That sounds dirty. Remember this, people? I wanted you to think of the perineum. What is the perineum? That's that place. Remember, we talked about this. That's the place between your anus and your genitalia. right? It's that flat land. It's that flat land. Okay, give me the next one. Your glutes, right? It's around under your glutes. What are those centaurs? They're lacei. They're pederasts. Jesus Christ, right? I said this a long time ago. You were with me, Satanic Congregation. You've been with me the whole way. And I said to you, and you trusted me. I told you, the centaurs, those are those traffickers. They are the pederasts. When you say lestes, you are saying pederast. You are saying somebody who abuses and traffics children, who abuses them sexually using drugs, just like the one that we just looked at. Just like the one we just looked at. Do you know what he was doing? Give me that last one. Do you know what he was doing? He was in that field, blown up with the buprestis, bursting and spilling out his seed while our Lord Jesus Christ was dying. And Peter is the one who relates this tale. Why? Because we all know he's dead. What happened, Peter? Were you a witness to it? No. All we know is that he spilled everything. That blood came out, and that's all there was. He was OD'd. You mean Judas Iscariot and Jesus Christ were both under the influence of drugs when they died? Supposedly? Yes. Yes. This is how the language works. This is how you express that performance of the mystery. And you don't see it because there is a gulf between us and them. And the only bridge in that gulf is that thing that you and I have in common. Blah, blah, blah. All right. It's the only way we get there is through the language. Right. When I tell people, Jesus is saying, I'm not a pederast. I'm not a child. Oh, I don't want to use that word. I'm not a child trafficker. Right. I can pull up a text for you and I can show you in the text. And you can, be convinced or not. But the fact is, you are the people who want to take that trip. You're the people who want to look into that reality, not the ones who want to say, his kitchen. Look at his kitchen. What a bunch of impoverishment. I'm going to save that for next time. I want to end with a quote. I asked Dr. Carl Ruck, I asked him, give me a quote. I've got a bunch of Greek students now, and I want to encourage them. Tell me, as a classicist, tell me something. He said, I consider ancient Greek the prototypical humanity. Right? He just sent me this in his email. I'm putting up there like it's a quote, but he just emailed me this. The language and the cultural fantasies encoded in its mythological traditions have provided the nomenclature for many of the well-known psychological paradigms. For example, the Oedipus complex. But the art and literature, this is the part I like, unlike the tormenting delusions of psychosis, are the products not of a diseased mind, but the highest aspirations of our creative spirit or soul. Thank you. The highest aspirations of our creative spirit or soul. Thank you. This is from a man. Take it down. That was from a man who has spent many, many years studying, reading Greek. He has a taste for it and a flavor. He has an understanding of it that you cannot parallel. We should consider him. We should consider him a modern savior. It's his knowledge. It's that knowledge. It's that ability to work with that Greek that brings us to that savior. Yeah, definitely. Love it. And you can have that too. Keep working on the Greek. Keep working. I know I've got classes coming up, and I know I'm still cementing the Aussie class, and I love it. Thank you very much. And I still got some I'm adding to the European class. People are working hard. People are working hard, and I appreciate it. And we're going to go full steam ahead. And when someone like Peterson has the guts to come out and to discuss what those texts say, we'll be there. We'll be there. Keep telling everybody that you run into, right? Keep telling them. You know, if they say talk about Jesus, you talk about Jesus too. Take back the Bible, people. This is our chance to take back the Bible. I thank you very much for coming tonight. And I hope that you can see the reality that is in those texts, because it's always so much better. Unfortunately, not for the monists, because that's where all of the evidence against them is. Thank you for coming tonight. Hail Satan.
Gates of Babylon, Dragon Lady of the Lake, Snake Venom Dream Section, Malachite, Purple Ion, House of Frankenstein, Violent Rain Rhymes, Medulla hold the flame,